Hey, it's Marthea Pitts, the MSW coach. And I have a question. Is your current career as a social worker sustainable? Is your current career as a social worker sustainable? Meaning, the job that you have right now, can you realistically see yourself doing it 5, 10, 15 plus years from now, or even up to retirement age, whatever retirement age is for you? Is the current state of your social work career sustainable? And the reason I want to talk about this is because I've been in constant conversation with social workers this week. And one of the themes that I identified from many of the social workers that I talked to in the conversations that I had is that a lot of social workers are in careers right now that are not sustainable in the long term. What I mean by that is many of them took a job because they needed a job post-graduation. So, and this is true for many social workers, meaning it was the first job available, right? It wasn't necessarily their dream job. It wasn't even necessarily the most aligned job, or even a job working with a population or on an issue that they were super passionate, but it was an available job. However, they are finding themselves at a critical crossroads where they are realizing that their ability to sustain like the necessary pace in their career is getting smaller because they don't like the job they're in. And so I really wanted to talk about the fact that I completely understand having to take a job because you needed a job and it was nothing else available. However, I wanted to give you some insight on like a strategy that you should have had in place, right? You get a job because you need a job, but the long-term strategy is I'm going to get this job to meet my immediate need. It should not be I'm going to get this job and stay in this job forever. Right? Does that make sense? What I mean by that is if you are taking a job just for the meantime because you got an immediate need that you feel, you should, once you get the job, still be actively working on your job search to get the job that you want. However, what I see is a lot of social workers don't do that. They get the job because it's filling an immediate need, and then they get in the job and they just stay there until what I call the point of no return. They look up, it's been 5, 10, 15 years, and they're still in this job that they took to meet an immediate need, a temporary need, instead of creating a plan of action to find something long term that can really help them sustain themselves in their career. And so I wanted to talk to you if that's your situation where you took this job because it was the first opportunity you could get straight out of grad school, or it was the first job that you could get an opportunity in, and now you're looking up 5, 10, 15 years later, you built your whole life around this job that you never intended. Because there's danger in that, right? And I've been talking to a lot of social workers this week. Right now is I'm registering people for cohort 21 of the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator. And one of the common themes amongst the people that I've been talking to is that a lot of them have strayed completely away from what they said they wanted to do with their social work degree, right? So what I mean by that is the very first question I ask people when they come to get to know you chats with me is like, what did you have envisioned for your career when you chose your MSW degree program? Like, how did you see yourself using your degree? What type of job did you want? And a lot of people name things that are completely unrelated to what they do present day as a social worker, and they attribute it to the fact that this is the only type of job that I could find post-graduation. And so then my next immediate thought is, why didn't you at some point, once things settled down and you had the job, why didn't you continue on with the initial vision of going after the job that you want? And I just actually had that same conversation with a social worker literally just a few minutes ago. And she said the reason why she did not revisit her original vision of particularly working in higher education, right? That was the whole reason she got her MSW degree. She saw herself working with post-secondary education students and supporting them in completing their college degree programs. However, upon graduation, she could only get a job with her MSW degree. Upon graduation, she could only get a job as a medical social worker. And so I asked her, well, when you got the medical social worker job because you needed a job and you needed to meet your immediate financial needs, why didn't you go on with continuing to look for a job in higher education? And what she admitted was that, essentially in so many words, is that she succumbed, that's the word I like to use, succumbed to what the social work community says as a whole is dream job. So she then found herself in a position that she never really wanted. And then fast forward 2 years later, she's on the path to like going through licensure when licensure was never the goal for her. And so this isn't a conversation about is licensure good or licensure not. My conversation is more so to remind you that even when you take a job to meet your immediate basic needs, that doesn't mean that you abandon the original vision or a vision for your career. If your vision was always to work in higher education with helping secondary education students complete college, but you had to take you a just for now job, what I call any job, you had to get any job to pay your bills, you should still be revisiting the original goal, not settling into this is my reality, this is just the way it's going to be, and abandon the whole reason you became a social worker. Because I see this over and over and over again. I wanted to come on and give a friendly reminder that just because you take a just for now job doesn't mean you have to abandon it. What you have to do though is work a little bit harder not to succumb to the natural pressures of the social work community, because I've never been a person that succumbed to peer pressure, but one thing that I can say is that social workers, they are really it's a lot of peer pressuring that goes on, where I see people have this one vision for their career and then they're talked into doing this whole other thing that they never wanted to do. So when you find yourself in a just for now job, you have to hold true to what your original vision was for your career. And one of the ways that I teach my coaching clients to do that inside of my group career coaching program is one of the very first things I have them do after getting career clarity, taking them through my career clarity framework, is having them create what I call a professional mission statement. It's a statement where they map out clearly what is the thing that you say you want to do as a macro social worker. What is the type of organization that you say you want to work with? What type of role do you say you want? And the reason I have them create that initially in the beginning is first, the professional mission statement serves many different purposes. It helps you with career clarity. It helps you in job searching. It helps you when you are interviewing. It helps you in career advancement. But the primary reason why I have them do that in the first 30 to 45 days is because I know once I start teaching them from the 45-day to the 60-day period that they're in my program, once I start teaching them how to find macro jobs, and I start teaching them how to effectively read a job description, and I start teaching them how they already qualify, I know that they're going to get shiny object syndrome, right? Because now they're going to see all of these jobs that they never even paid attention before or knew existed or even knew that they qualified for, and they're going to naturally gravitate to those jobs because they come with a higher level of autonomy, a higher level of responsibility, a higher level of aligned and connected work with the populations and issues that they always wanted to work with, bigger salaries, bigger organizations, a lot of more perks and benefits. And so when my people see these jobs, they're going to get shiny object syndrome. And so to avoid that, the reason I have them in step 1 create a mission statement is to minimize their susceptibility to want to copy and paste everything they see out in the world. Because if you say you're interested in helping higher education students complete college, You should not be easily swayed and excited about a job working with the aging population on a national level or creating opportunities for healthcare equity for them, right? If the goal is post-secondary education, that should stay the goal. And so I wanted to come and offer that strategy to you as well, but more so a reminder to say that even if you had to take a just for now job to pay your bills, to have a job, to pay your mortgage, to pay your rent, to pay your car note, you still can visit your original goal. Bree says that made sense. Thanks, Bree, for the feedback and engagement. I'm glad you picking up what I'm putting down. You don't have to abandon it. Just because you take a just for now job doesn't mean, oh, well, that's it. That's over for me. It's no longer a possibility. No, it's still a possibility. However, you're going to have to work a little bit harder to keep it at the forefront, right? It's the same thing. Like lately I've been giving y'all analogies that's connected to education, because I know we all super educated people. Just like if you had to take the semester off of school because you couldn't pay your tuition for that semester, or maybe you flunked that semester and were put on probation or something like that. You didn't stop for that semester and say, well, that's it. I can't go back to school. It's no more for that. I set the semester. I can't go back. No, you still re-enroll the following semester once you got your money together, once you set your time out, once you got your GPA back up and you went back at it. It's the same thing with your career. And I really wanted to give you all that reminder because I see it more and more. Social workers just completely abandoning what they said they originally wanted to do. So how you get clear around creating your mission statement or the goal or the why statement, whatever you want to call it for right now, is revisit often. Why did you originally in the first place get your MSW degree? One of the first questions I always ask people when they're coming to meet with me about joining my program is, why did you choose an MSW degree? Out of all of the degree programs that were out there, why did you choose this specific degree? How did you see yourself how did you envision yourself using this degree when you got into the job market? What type of job did you want? I encourage you to answer that question today and cross compare it to the job that you're in today. Does it align? Are you doing the thing that you said you wanted to do? If not, most likely you're not, because you took a just for now job. I need you to sit down and figure out, okay, what are the steps that I'm going to take to get back in alignment with what I say I wanted? Because another thing that I've noticed over the last several weeks talking to dozens of social workers is that social workers who have been through a betrayal of self. What I mean by that is they've abandoned what they said they wanted to do. And if they've been in their career for a little longer than 5 years, 10 years, somewhere up in there, they are at a critical crossroads, not just in their career, but in their life, where they are now they don't like nothing. I don't know another way to say that. What I mean by that is everything is it just feels off. Their career feels off. Their life feels off. Their relationships feel off. And at the core of it is because you betrayed yourself. You are now chasing something that was never your goalpost. Again, most likely because you succumbed to peer pressure from the social work community that tells you should do this, and it's goals to have this kind of job, and this is where it is, and this and this and this and this and this. Right? And so I'm coming on to talk to you all about asking you, is your career sustainable? Is it something that you can realistically see yourself doing 5 to 10 years from now and be okay with it? Not be in a situation where you have a love-hate relationship, where you pissed off at work and then you come home and you be pissed off in your life because your job is just horrible. Right? That is sustainability. A lot of people always think about just having a job. But when I talk about sustainability, I'm talking about the quality of your life. Right? Your job should enhance your life, not make it bad. What I mean by that is I was talking to the social worker earlier and I was telling her I always give people something before they leave. Even if they decide not to work with me, I always give them something. And my one thing with her was, whatever you do, don't become like the social workers that are around you who have settled, who have burnt out, who hate their job and ultimately hate their lives. I said, have you ever met someone like that? I said, they just nasty from the inside out. And most likely before they became a social worker, they weren't that way. And all she could say was yes. I say that same thing to you. Do not become one of those social workers, right? Your life, your career should make your life better. Why? Because it makes you more resourced. It gives you more capacity to show up in your life. Why? Because you're working to make money. And for many of you, you're not, well, what somebody told me earlier this week, she said, I'm not money motivated. Well, that's fine. A lot of social workers are working because they want to create impact in their community, impact in their world. So in the world that surrounds them. So even if you're not money motivated, your career should still provide you with that level of fulfillment that you want, that you need. It shouldn't make you mad, pissed off, angry, without, in lack, in survival mode. It shouldn't do any of that, because at the end of the day, you chose this career. It wasn't like you are, someone who is not a degree professional. You specifically chose this career. So that means that your career should be always checking your boxes. You should never be in a situation where you're settling, where you're just taking anything. And again, I know for many of us, we're not working just because. You're working to provide for yourself. But also remember that providing for yourself, even if you're making the money, but the quality of your life is horrible because you're mad and pissed off and you're burned out and you're tired or you're sick because you're so stressed out. Is the money really worth it in the end if you can't have a quality of life to thoroughly enjoy it? Right? Your career should make your life better. It should enhance your life, not diminish it. So I wanted to come on and get that reminder that just because you had to take a just now job, you still should be revisiting what you said you wanted to do. Stop settling. That's the biggest thing. You don't take nothing else away from this. Stop settling. Stop being complacent. Stop succumbing to the peer pressures of social workers, because they peer pressure y'all a lot. Tell you what you can do, what you can't do, what you should do, and oh no, you're not effective if you don't do blah, 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 blah. And get back to why you said you wanted this degree in the first place. What type of job did you say you want? What thing did you want to do in the world? And assess, are you doing that? And if not, start taking active steps today to do it. And whatever you do, don't become like those social workers, okay? Because life is beautiful when you are very intentional and you work really hard to curate good experiences for yourself. I just got off a coaching call as well with the alum of my coaching program, the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator. And every week when I meet with them, I meet with them on the first and third Sunday, I get excited. And like I told them today, they're telling me that they're being recruited by organizations for high six-figure jobs, that they're turning down job opportunities. They're now in their second macro job since working with me cohorts ago. I told them today, I said, I love you. I can't keep telling y'all that. I tell y'all that every other Sunday because this is the vision that I had in my brain before I even knew they existed, because it was the vision I had for my career. And to see it being duplicated in other people's lives, and they're losing weight and they saving money and they paying off debt and they buying homes and they traveling to Greece and they just are thriving, right? Where they're coming from, going to the hospital every week from their case management job because they were so stressed out from gaining weight, from never taking a vacation. My one coaching client, she just got back from a 2-week vacation to Greece after years of working in her case management job and never taking a vacation because she couldn't, because she was so overworked. So now she's working in her macro job and she's traveling the world, enjoying life. That's the same thing that I want for you all. So that's why I want to talk about career sustainability, because sustainability is possible for you. Stop believing what the people tell y'all. Bree says, this is great. So glad I hopped on here. I'm glad you're here, Bree. Thanks for the engagement. But don't settle and don't betray yourself, and hold true to what it is that you said you wanted to do. All right, I'll talk to y'all next time. Happy macro career planning. Bye.